What if you believed that you could change the world? Would your heart break for the lost and broken souls? What if you were meant for something more, and you are?
When I first heard the word courage, I always believed that you were born with it or you were not. And I was definitely one of the ones who's not born with it. I don't like zip lines. I don't like to go fast. I don't like to jump out of anything at all. And so I just figured I'm not one of those people. I actually really work hard for my comfort zones. Comfort, security, those are beautiful things to me. But when I was asked that question, do you have the courage to be you? I quickly learned that courage just meant acting when you're afraid. See, so many times fear paralyzes us. We cannot move. It seems I was having a really hard time learning this lesson until one day I took a walk with my Labrador retriever, Jake. Now, Jake, if you know anything about Labradors retrievers were created on purpose for a purpose, and that is to swim in water. Their hair is oily, so the water beads off of it. Their tail is like this thick because it's called an otter tail that helps them swim. They're made for water. But what happened to Jake? I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old at the time when Jake came home to us. And my boys and my husband decided to give him a bath. It was such a traumatic experience for Jake that he hated water from that moment on. Between the water hose and screaming kids and the suds, he decided that water was not for him. So when you would take Jake for a walk after that, he would avoid water at all costs. If there was water on the right side of the road, he would drag you away from water. It was so very sad, but here's what happened. Jake became okay with it. We bought him like a Ralph Lauren polo bed. We went to the toy store and got him toys. He slept in the house. I mean, he didn't even know or miss swimming, even though that's what he was created for. Until one day, he was about 65 years old in dog years, and he and I were walking down the levee. And I was having this conversation, this identity crisis, if you will, trying to figure out who I was and why I was on this planet. When all of a sudden Jake and I walked in a field and I let him off the leash and I saw him take off running. I couldn't figure out what he was chasing, and I looked and I saw a pond, and on that pond there were ducks that were landing on the pond. And all of a sudden, I could not believe it. Jake takes off running and does a swan dive into the water and begins to chase the ducks. This is pre-cell phone selfie day, so I had no pictures to record this, but I was literally crying as I watched him do what he was created to do. And he came back, and I promise you he was smiling. He came back, he ran up to me, he was shaking, and I laughed and said, "Jake, you finally did what you were created to do." And I felt a small whisper that said, "When are you? When are you?" See, one of the things that I found, and one of the things I write about in the book, is that your fear may be the very thing that you're supposed to be doing. The very thing that scares you to death may be the thing that you were created to do. Just like Jake, who's made for water and he didn't swim for years because of fear. What are you afraid of?